Hey Geeks! Welcome back to another GEEKSIDERS review. This time we're reviewing The Walking Dead issue 166, titled No Surrender.
If you haven't read this issue yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we talk about is going to be a spoiler.
Okay, so for about the last year or so, The Walking Dead comic book has just been anticlimax after anticlimax. And this issue is no different.
No.
Like, we've been looking forward to the Saviors invading Alexandria after the Whisperer herd finally dispersed, and they get there and no.
No. They came to bargain.
Yeah. Well, Sherry came to bargain.
Yeah.
So I don't know about the rest of the Saviors.
They allowed it though.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, how does Sherry have the Saviors rally behind her? Because when Rick says, lower your weapons, everybody puts their weapons down, so it sure seems like they're still listening to Rick.
Dwight was the only one who was still in fight mode, and then Rick was like, Dwight, and he's like, okay. Yeah, so Rick's like, everybody put your weapons down, and they did. And then she's like, come talk with me in my office.
And
then,
she did.
And she does.
Yeah.
And then it's really weird. Like, I feel like there's a bunch of backstory with Sherry that we just never got to see because
she's freaking crazy. What? How and when? What?
like she didn't come to fight. She came to say, we don't want to be part of your alliance, a part of your community anymore. And Rick's like, well, I think it's kind of a bad idea. We're working together and we're exchanging things and we're helping each other along.
And blah, blah, blah. And she just
and she
flips.
snaps. She's like, oh my! She tries to kill him. And there's this one part where she says, and Negan's with you now, and he doesn't say anything, and she's like, you can't intimidate me, and I'm like, he's not trying to.
He's really not. What's your problem?
The smallest things set her off, and then she damn near kills him. Like she's choking, she has her knife out, and then she's choking him, and his eyes are starting to roll back in his head. And this is where my problems with this issue really start. So she's on top of him. She's choking him. His eyes are rolling back in his head, and then he shoves her hard enough that she hits the back of her head on the table, and it kills her. And I'm just like, I don't know if Rick, now in his life, at this point, because he's not nearly as physically strong as he used to be, if in that position, lying on his back, ready to pass out, if he could push someone hard enough that the impact of hitting a table would kill them. I don't think he could do it.
And if he could, it would have to be a really, really sturdy, heavy table. Yeah. Which this is not, because she's already flipped one over prior, so, she just, flipped it over.
It's little more than a card table.
Yeah, and when she flies back into it, it flies up off the ground. So, both things kind of negate it being this heavy-duty table, so it seems very unplausible.
Like, if she had, hit the table awkwardly and it broke her neck, okay, fine, I can deal with that. But no, it busted her open. Like, there's a big-ass pool of blood.
Pool of blood, and, there's a blood splatter when her head hits, and I'm just, nah. Yeah. I know it's a zombie universe, and you kind of got to give them a little artistic license, but this is just really sloppy.
Yeah. The other thing in this issue that just kind of threw me off a little bit. Actually, there were two things. The first one is pretty early. It's actually page 3 of the issue, right over here. Is Rick says, let's use our blades from here on out and save some ammo. And then, the next line down, they're crazy killing walkers. And if that feels like a really big jump, I would have liked to seen a panel or two in between there, setting up okay, another group is coming, let's go. It just felt kind of jarring that there was this, all right, let's use blade, chop, 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 chop. And then the other thing, which is something I didn't even catch until I watched Ronnie Hayes of Make a Path Presents in his review, Sherry in the comic volunteered to be with Negan. She ditched Dwight for Negan before Negan became Negan. And the fact that now she's like, wait, what the fuck is Negan doing here? She is dead set against this guy now. I'm like, well, she voluntarily, she wasn't completely opposed to being with him previously. So the fact that she basically hates him now, that doesn't line up. Again, it just seems like there's more to her that we just never got to see. And the last thing I want to mention for this issue is the thing I was most curious about, and they barely touched on it at all, and that's Andrea.
Yeah.
We were at the end of last issue, it seemed like she might have gotten bit on the neck, and at the end of this issue, I think maybe she did, because she was sweating really, really badly.
And she like fell into the room, so like, yeah, we were kind of hoping that maybe it wasn't a walker that bit her, that, you know, something else had happened, like maybe she was grazed by a bullet at some point, or anything but a bite. And it really does seem, unless she's got like some extreme case of the placebo effect, it sure seems like she was bit.
I guess it could be blood loss, maybe that's what the wooziness is from, and I guess the sweat could just be from working really hard to lure the walkers away. But man, it really seems like she got bit.
Yeah, they definitely want us to think she got bit anyway.
Yeah. And I really hope this is like a long con. I hope this is one giant bait and switch, because Andrea is my absolute favorite character, and I don't know if I want to continue reading if they kill her off. I don't give a shit about anybody else in the comic, basically. Maybe Michonne. Michonne would be up there, but Andrea is my make or break. Andrea dies, I'm done reading. So while this wasn't a bad issue by any means, it had problems, and it just felt a little anticlimactic after they built up this potential all-out war part 2 or all-out war number 2 or whatever with the Saviors. Although since Sherry died, I mean, any kind of relationship they have with the Saviors is gonna be super problematic, because she was their leader and Rick just killed her.
Yeah.
And how he gets out of that situation is gonna be interesting to see.
We still have some conflict, but yeah.
So I don't know how he talks himself out of the situation, because Rick right now is basically a talker.
Yeah.
That's the extent of his skills. He's physically not the man he used to be.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
you know, I'm still of the belief that they might be gearing up to kill Rick off.
I'm okay with that.
All right, and I think that's all we have for this issue. If you have anything to add, please let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, tell us by dropping a like on it, share this video on Facebook or Twitter, and subscribe if you haven't already.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.